Alright, for the first part of this process, what I'm going to do is put a 3D printed strut onto a wire landing gear. So here's a piece of wire that's been bent to the right shape to fit the strut. And the way this works, the strut has a little slot in it, and the wire just sits in there like this. And the other piece goes on top, or around the wire, like that. So all I have to do is glue this together. What I'm going to do is apply the glue. I'm going to use some foam tack and just put a little bit on here. Doesn't have to be a lot, because in the next step I'll show you why. So a little bit of foam tack, as so. And that goes on here, in this position. So I'm just going to gently press it together and make sure it's lined up. Now, as you can see here, the strut's basically finished, but there's a seam where the two parts come together. And that seam is what I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you how to fill that using this new product that we have. Okay, as you can see, this is not, the wire is not glued in. So I'm just going to take the wire off. And there we have the strut. I'm just going to let this dry for 5 minutes, and then I'll show you how to fill this seam. Okay, it's been a few minutes, and the glue that we used to put the strut together has dried. And I'm going to show you how we can use this new product called ResinCrete to fill this seam. And we're also going to fill some holes in this piece of wood. Anyway, this product is very much like plaster, except that it has an acrylic resin mixed in with it, which makes it somewhat flexible, and it helps it bond to items like plastic. But what's really neat about it is how well it can be sanded. It's meant to be used as a molding compound for crafting, but it just happens to work really well as a filler, and that's what I'm going to show you today. Now, this product has to be mixed with water in a particular ratio, which I'm going to do right in front of you here. So you have to have a digital scale. These little scales cost like $5–8 on Amazon, and put a little mixing cup there. Turn on the scale and it'll zero. Then I'm going to take this product, which is a very fine powder, and put some in here. Just squeeze a little bit out. And that's 1.3 grams. Now I need to put 1/3 of that in water. Now 1/3 of 1.3 is roughly 4. So if we add 0.4 grams to 1.3, we'll be up to 1.7. And I have a syringe here with some water. I'm just going to gently put in a little bit of water. It's not much. 1, 2, 3, a couple drops here. And we're going to get this up to 1.7. There. And there's not much water in here. The minute you start mixing it, however, it liquefies very quickly. There it goes. Like I said, this was originally designed for molding, so it's a liquid that can be poured into a mold. How does that work as filler? Well, it's a thick liquid. So this is mixed up. Let me put the scale over here. And I'm going to start covering the seam up with this liquid filler. Now here's the part. It's hard to do this with without three hands, but anyway, here I got some on the end with a spatula here, and I'm just going to dribble it on here. Hopefully you can see what I'm doing. I'm not trying to smooth it. I'm letting it just sit there. Okay, get some more on this side. that, it sands really easily. So you just kind of build it up like that. Okay, what about this part where the wire is? You can cover that up too. Just get some more of this filler, liquid. You put it in here like this. You can see, although it's a liquid, it's not flowing away. It's staying where I put it. Okay. Hopefully you can see what I did there. There's the opposite side. There's a seam there too. So I'm just going to keep piling this on. This product has a working life of only 5-6 minutes before it starts setting. So you have to work relatively quickly, but as you can see, I'm not having any trouble. It's not drying yet. All right. Now there are some spots here where the liquid has dripped off because it's still very, it's liquid. But I'll be able to put more on if I want to build this up. You can just add to it. But I'm going to leave this like this for now and let this dry and come back in a few minutes and show you what it looks like. Alright, I let this dry for just a couple minutes and it's no longer liquid. It's starting to set up. And what I did in the last couple minutes was I cleaned out my cup and the tool so that I could make a second batch. But this is pretty much done as far as the application. I'll try to hold it up so you can see it. I can't go much closer than this because it'll get blurry. But hopefully you can see where the white material is on the seam there and on top of the wire in this area. I'm going to sand this off after it's completely dry, but this is it's ready to go, and you know, there's a lot of extra material here that'll get sanded off, but this is how easy it is. You just put it on and in a couple minutes it's dry. You got to make sure you clean your tool before it's completely dry. But I'm going to set this down and make another batch because I want to show you how this works as a wood filler. So turn on the scale, it's zeroed, put some in here. There's, I don't know, I'll go up to, I do the same amount as I did before, 1.2, 1.3. There's 1.3. Again, I'm going to add about 0.4 of a gram of water to bring it up to 1.7. Takes a second for the scale to register too, so you've got to be careful. You don't want to put too much water in here because too much water will make it too loose and it won't dry properly. Come on, a little bit more. 1.6. Okay, 1.8. A little bit too much. I'm just going to put a couple specks in here. Okay, mix this up real quick. Not much water, and you can see it just liquefies. It's like pancake batter. All right. Mix it up for 15-20 seconds or so. Make sure you get all that powder dissolved. And it's very liquid, you can see here. Now what I'm going to do is I've got this wood block that I put some holes in and some scratches because I want to show you how well this works as a filler. So we're going to just pour this onto the block like that. And I'm going to smooth it in to where the cracks are. Okay. I'm going to let that sit, and within just 3 or 4 minutes it'll be solid enough that I can turn it upside down and show you. I'm going to do that off camera once more so you don't have to wait for 4 minutes for it to dry, and I'm just going to clean out my little cup here. Okay, I'll be back in a minute. Okay, so I went and cleaned the plastic cup. It's been just a couple minutes, and the product has firmed up, and you can see it's no longer liquid. It's possible to touch it, but it hasn't fully cured yet. It takes at least 30 minutes for this to cure. Once it's cured, it can be sanded, and so I'm going to be sanding this block down to show you how well it fills in, how easy it is to sand, and we're also going to sand the filler off the strut so I can show you what a nice job it does there. Once again, we're going to wait 30 minutes. Of course, it'll only feel like a couple seconds to you because I'm going to stop the tape and restart it in 30 minutes. See you soon. Okay, I've waited a couple of hours, and now this has fully cured and is hard as a rock. I'm going to show you here. Can't dent it. It dries hard like ceramic, but it's extremely easy to sand. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with a sanding T-bar. It's 100 grit, and I'm just going to run it across here flat and show you. You can see the powder that comes off here. It's like sanding wallpaper mud. It's very easy to sand. And after a few strokes, it's smoothing out. So obviously I'm not going to sit here and sand it the whole way on camera. What I'm going to do, you can see how much powder comes off. I'm going to take it to my sanding belt and show you what happens there. In the meantime, I've got this strut, which also needs to be sanded. Now, since this is smaller, I'm going to use this tool, which is a jeweler's file, and just gently go over it. I'm going to use the rougher side. And I'll put my finger here so you can see the powder coming off of it. It comes off easily, and it's smooth as fine paper. And you can take this down all the way to the original surface. And I know this doesn't show up very well on camera because it's white on white. I was sanding it here, and it's smooth. I put filler material here to fill this seam. I can just run this file over it a little bit. Hope you can see this. Here's a spot, a little bit of extra material came over the edge here. Just a couple of swipes like that, and it's gone. It's extremely easy to sand. And if you use a more aggressive sandpaper, it'll come off faster. Of course, you don't want it to be rough. You want it to have a smooth finish because that's what we're doing. We're filling in that gap that was there. So I just want to show you, it takes a light touch, and this stuff comes off. You can see my hands are all powdery now. So it's adhering to the plastic. This is obviously a 3D printed part, and the material has adhered to it, but what I don't want is coming right off with the sander, leaving behind a perfectly smooth surface. Alright, I'm going to put this down and run this through my sanding belt and bring it back in a second. Hold on one moment. Okay, I'm back. I took about 10 seconds on the belt sander. This is perfectly smooth, And these are where the scratches were. The scratches are filled, and this is just perfectly smooth across here. I can't really show to you on camera. You just have to believe me, that is, you cannot feel anything, and the material's still hard. Hitting it like that didn't dent it. That's what's neat about this. It's almost like a ceramic, but it's sandable. So, there you have it. I hope this has been helpful, and to show you how easy this product is to use. And of course, when you're filling something like this, if you find something that's not filled enough, you can always add more. It only takes a few seconds to make another batch if you need some, but the end result is perfectly smooth, it's paintable, and it has to be painted to be sealed. This material will still absorb water, so it needs to be painted or sealed before putting into use. But for all intents and purposes, it's an excellent filler. So there you go.